What's up, everybody? I'm Yakfish Chris, and I'm here to tell you my initial thoughts on the NuCanoe Pursuit 13.5. I bought a new boat. If you watched the last video, you know that I did, and I teased it at the end. And here it is. The NuCanoe Pursuit 13.5. So, before we start this review, let me tell you that I've had this boat out on the water, and I know how it paddles, and I understand that I need to change some things about my configuration about the boat. I've already learned some things that I want to change. I've already figured some things out that I think will work out better than what I have it set up as now. So things will change, and I'll do a recap like at the end of the season and let you know how I did this year with this boat. I purchased this boat from the kayak fishing store in Wildwood, New Jersey. North Wildwood, Cape May area store. It's a store that I know the people very well behind it, and I got a deal and a half from them because this is a demo boat. So that's why it's the solid cyan and not the camo, the cyan and smoke camo. So yeah, it's an older boat, but it's not old. I think it was paddled like 5 or 6 times before I got my hands on it. So it is a demo. There are some scuffs and some scratches on it already, but that just gives it character. I'm moving to a NuCanoe Pursuit 13.5 for a lot of reasons. A lot of really fun reasons. One, the first being that look how beautiful this color is. I'm a stickler for crazy color kayaks, and I just love this blue. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, just look at this thing. It's fantabulous. That's not the only reason why I bought this kayak. Let's go through some of the reasons right now why I bought this kayak. One, the seat. There's no seat, so let's go. Let me make the seat appear. 3, 2, 1. The seat. The seat is unbelievably comfortable. You can see how high it is from the deck to the top of the seat to where you're seeing everything on the water. I really like the positioning of the seat. The height of the seat is pretty important to me. I'm a bigger guy. Stability in a kayak is one thing for smaller people, but you lose a little bit of that the bigger you are. And being able to sit in a really high position and being able to see things more vertically than just standing, or in my Old Town Predator in that seat, has been already an advantage to this boat. So the seat height, that gets a point in my books. Another point that I really like is this front hatch. It's tiny, but it does the job in holding the things I need it to. So right now, I have my battery in there, I have a headlamp in there, and I put usually a dry bag in there with extra GoPro batteries, things like that, to just kind of be out of the way throughout the day. I do like that there's the internal bucket in there so you can take it out and put it back in. Kind of a really nice feature. I didn't have that in the Old Town, so I would lose things in the back of the boat, which is nice. The only thing that this is lacking is a dedicated battery spot. I wish it had a spot for a battery. Like the Old Town had the bag, and I could, work with that, and it was out of the way. That's the one thing I'm missing so far from the Old Town. It could be bigger, sure. It could be a little more functional, sure. But for what I need it for, it's perfect. So let's take you back to the front of the boat. So in the front of the boat, we still are wide open. The Freedom Tracks is a huge asset to that. I'm just gonna give that a point right off the bat. I like the wide open space. It gives me more room to just be free. I didn't have much space in the cockpit of the Old Town Predator. And here I can move my legs around, I can put baits down, it's easier to retie things. It's just a better overall space to manage when you're out on the water. I like how open this deck is, and even this front area up here. I do plan on getting the slide track, kind of whatever that is, the table thing majig. I don't know what it's called, but I do plan on getting that. And I do plan on putting it here. My fish finder will go in there. Right now the fish finder goes over here on this Freedom Track. And I put my other camera, the Rico camera, on this Freedom Track to get an angle straight up at my dome. I did get the foot pegs, the NuCanoe foot pegs. I didn't know how they were gonna work because they were shaped really weird, but they actually work out really well. It's a little uncomfortable having the little nut, right here, but I actually these have helped already in keeping my core tight and being able to paddle properly and get enough force behind every paddle. That was a little concerning to me at the beginning, and then after having these on and paddling the distances I have already, I think we're in business with these. So let's move back here. Let me try and get some light down here first. Got some light, we're good. So let's go to the back end of the boat. Right off the bat, it's got 2 internal rod holders here. The Old Town didn't have any internal rod holders, or not internal. The Old Town didn't have any rod holders built into it. The NuCanoe has 2, which is, I've never had that, so I'm not used to that. So I haven't used them yet, really. I mean, I used it once, but yeah. So the rear tank well is huge. It's huge, so that gets a point for me because I love to bring a lot of stuff. I do like the Freedom tracks back here. Gives me freedom to mount things like my Visicarbon, and I actually have tie-down straps here for my crate, so I put those on. So I'm gonna bring it to my first negative. So my first negative of the boat is the rear tank well. I love the size of it. I love how much you can store in it, but it's too narrow. So my crate originally didn't fit. The crate that I built for my other boat didn't fit directly into it because it had rod holders on the side, and the rod holders on the side meant that it wouldn't fit flush inside of the rear tank well. So with that being said, I had to think of a solution to come up with for my crate that I've already built and used for years to fit inside this tank well. So I just took foam blocks and I made them risers for the crate, which is fine. And that's fine for now, but apparently a black pack fits in here perfectly, which is fine. I just don't feel like spending the money on a black pack right this minute. Do I plan on getting one in the future? Probably. Issue number 2 has to do with the rear tank well as well. There's no scuppers in here. And no scuppers means it holds water. Especially me being a big guy. Like, the bail weight on this is, with everything in it, and me, all the stuff that I bring and me, is maxed out. So the self bail weight is maxed out with everything in it. So it's gonna hold water. I get a wetter ride anyway because, like I said, I'm a bigger guy. I get that. The amount of water that this tank well holds sometimes is bad. And it's bad because it actually reaches this hatch and gets in the hatch. Now, the hatch may not have been properly sealed, I don't know, but I'm gonna take it off and I'm gonna re-silicone it and reseal it and see if that helps. I think that should solve that problem of water getting inside my boat and making it very difficult to paddle, which is fine. I get that these hatches fail sometimes. I get that sometimes you need to re-silicone them and reattach them. Totally fine by me. But it's just been a bit of a nuisance having to empty out my boat almost every time I've been out on the water. So let's talk about one thing that I really have enjoyed about this boat so far, and that it's paddleability. It's such an easy boat to paddle that you notice every little movement in the boat. You understand what direction your boat's going, and it's fast. This boat paddles extremely well, like unbelievably well for its size. The Old Town I had was a 13-foot kayak, and it was kind of a barge. It was a little bit of a barge. It paddled well enough for me to keep up with everybody and keep up with some of the pedal boats that I was around, but this boat flies on the water. It tracks unbelievably well. It's very stable. The secondary stability in this thing is pretty out of this world, and the speed of it from, you know, pickup and actually paddling properly. Don't get me wrong, I've had this boat out 5 times. It's been 5 trips, but it's been 2 long tournament days. 2 very long tournament days. Well, one not so long, but one very long one where it rained, it poured, it was cold, windy. Everything that I could experience out on the water happened. And this boat handled it phenomenally. The wind cut right through the water. It was easy to paddle into the wind, and it did really well staying on spots. It did move like every other non-anchored kayak would in the wind, so I was used to that. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't more than what it was supposed to do. It wasn't less. I was really happy with the way it did paddle into the wind though. It cut through waves and it cut through water because of that extreme point that it comes to at the beginning. So it was easy to paddle into the wind, which is huge for me because everywhere I seem to fish has wind, lots of it. Like I said, this boat is extremely fast, and even into the wind, I was paddling fast. There's already things that I want to change about the way I go about rigging this boat. And I went out with the intention of having my fish finder someplace, having my crate a certain way, putting my seat a certain place, and doing things a certain way, but that's already changed. And that's what I love about this platform. The reason it's easy to change everything in this boat is because of these freedom tracks. I can put things wherever I want. I can move these foot pegs. I can change where my fish finder goes. I can move the seat fore and aft. I can put something behind the seat to hold my soft plastics, which is what I'm gonna do. There's so many options because of the length of the freedom track, up front, in the rear tank well, everywhere, the whole length of the boat, that it gives you so many options to mount things. And I'm really excited to just play around and configure this thing and make it my tournament fishing machine. So with all that being said about the NuCanoe, I'm really excited to see what the rest of the summer and the rest of my fishing season brings. I think there's a lot that can get done with this boat, and I think my plans in my head to do certain things to it, a trolling motor, really excite me for what I'm gonna be capable of once I get this rigged out to a point where I am happy. I'm happy now, don't get me wrong. I love this boat already, I love it. I can stand, I can sit, I can paddle quickly and swiftly, efficiently, and as much as I missed my Old Town Predator that first day, I love this boat. I really do. I'm really excited to see what the rest of the 2018 season brings, because I got some fun stuff planned, and you're gonna see this guy a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching my video. Thanks for, subscribing to my channel, figuring it out. If you haven't subscribed, click here, I think it's here. Go check out my other videos. I do fish, I do. I catch fish every now and then, like once in a blue moon. You'll see some videos coming out with me in this, actually catching fish. Fingers crossed. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, go watch my other videos, and you know what? I'll see you guys next time.